everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode where we'll be discussing gaming news and things. And today I'm joined by Lauro Chapa.
Hey guys.
And my name is Paco Trevino, and today we'll be discussing the Xbox Game Showcase that happened. For us it happened earlier today, but for you it will be tomorrow. And yesterday.
Right.
And we'll be talking about some of the stuff that we liked, maybe some stuff that we didn't like, and some stuff that we think that could have been better or worse, and overall all our thoughts on that showcase, which would kind of be our taste of what E3 could have been if it had been this year. But without much further ado, Lauro, what did you think of this presentation, kind of its tone and whatnot?
Yeah, I thought the presentation was fine. I think that I was expecting more, maybe a bit more surprises, something we were not expecting. I think we got a presentation very by the numbers, like most of the games we knew about or we were expecting. And yeah, I think the Microsoft's communication of what the next generation is and what's good and new about Series X is still kind of weird. Like it's not great, the communication. So I would like them to be better at that. But overall, I think we got good games and we can see a lot of potential for what's coming up in the future.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree. I do think that Xbox as a whole has been kind of poor at communicating what Series X kinda is, and that translates into its name even, the whole thing of, for us it's pretty obvious because we follow the news and whatnot, which
Yeah.
is like, it's the new thing, it's the new Xbox. But for someone who is not exactly on the know, maybe would be like, what is this, what am I seeing, and
Yeah.
how is it different from the Xbox? And then there's the Xbox One X and the Series X, but I digress. I think that you mentioned something very important there about potential. I also see a lot of potential here because we're seeing a lot of what's going to come in next gen, so to speak, or first taste from Microsoft. And I do see a lot of potential in the games that we're gonna discuss, following this introduction. And maybe let's start with the game that the conference itself started, which is Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
We've seen it twice before, but this is the first time
Right.
that we've seen gameplay, so...
Yeah, it's the first time we saw gameplay, and I immediately thought about the first Halo. The setting, the weapons they used, the enemies, even the art style, everything reminded me of that first Halo. And I think that was missing from Halo. Halo 4 and 5 sort of went in another direction. They lost me there with some of the gameplay decisions and some of the art style. And I saw a lot of people kind of sort of bashing the definition and the graphics of Halo Infinite. But I don't know, I kind of like that it looks old school, and to me, gameplay is always more important. And what I saw of gameplay from Halo Infinite, I really like. So I'm really looking forward to this game. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you there in terms of looking forward for the game. I think that something that really stuck out for me is the flow of the gameplay. I think that something very important about a game like this is that you never feel like you're kind of stuck with all these enemies. This is something that I feel a lot about Halo and Doom, which is like you are so overpowered, and the Master Chief definitely seemed overpowered there,
Right.
And even I don't know if this was in Halo 5, but the hook that he has now, it's a lot like in Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
That reminded me of that new tool. So yeah, I really like the flow of combat, and there is a definite visual callback to the first Halo. and not even visual, also the sound and
Right.
the music style and everything. It's very reminiscent, and I honestly really like that because, like you were saying, there were some decisions down the line where it was too busy. I think,
Yeah.
like too many effects that were like flexing the Xbox One, but at the same time, it's a bit too much. So I definitely like the dial back that we're getting here. The fact that it's calling back to the first one is also a really nice thing, I think.
Yeah, I think that Halo had lost sort of its essence right there, but I think they're bringing it back, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the multiplayer is gonna look like. You know, maybe if they're bringing all their maps that people like, some weapons that people like, game modes. I'm looking forward to seeing that too.
Yeah, me too. Have they mentioned if they're going to bring back couch multiplayer?
They haven't.
Split screen? They haven't,
actually.
right? Oh my god. You know, I hope it does come back because that's a huge thing that was missing from Halo 5 for me. I haven't had my Xbox for very long, and you know, it's kind of weird that we have this Game Pass with all the new Halos and the first ones and whatnot, and we end up playing either the first one or 3 because 5 does not have split screen. That's so baffling to me.
Yeah, it's so weird.
But yeah, I hope it's there. You know, if it's not, I guess that I'll live, but I hope it does have it.
Yeah.
And something that really stuck out for me visually, you know, apart from the callback and being much less busy, I'm not sure, have they mentioned if this game will target 120 FPS on Xbox Series X?
I think they haven't mentioned that. I was kind of searching on the internet to see if they had talked about it.
Yeah, me too.
Some people are saying that it's gonna be 60 FPS, 4K, but I think that they haven't really confirmed anything.
Yeah, it's something interesting to me because I'm guessing that that's the same thing that Xbox One X is targeting. I'm guessing the One S is targeting either 900p with 60 FPS or something like that. You know, maybe
Right.
1080p. I don't think so, but maybe. But I'm guessing One X is targeting 4K 60, so it will be interesting to see if from the outset, you know, Series X has double the FPS. That would be kind of crazy, you know.
Right.
But yeah, let's see what they end up doing with Series X. Oh yeah, they talked about new Forza, you know.
Right.
Interesting that it's not called Forza Motorsport 8. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Do you think they're sort of doing it sort of like a games for service? Like this is the Forza and they're just gonna update it.
You know, that's an interesting point because Forza has kind of always been that. Since they take a lot of time making the new main Forza because there's essentially two teams doing Forza, the ones that are making Motorsport and the ones making Horizon.
Right.
And Horizon, I think it's Turn 10 with Sumo Digital, I think. And then there's the main one, Motorsport. I don't know, it's interesting because I don't know if they need to do that because it already is. I mean, I've had Motorsport 7 for a couple years, I think, and it's still being updated.
Oh,
like
nice.
new cars and whatnot have been brought into the game really, really late, so to speak, and the same goes for Horizon. Like they do kind of interplay the two versions, but at the same time they did do the new Forza Street thing, which is for like phones. I don't know if they would implement something from those experiments into the new one. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Forza needs like something like different for it to attract new people. I know it has a big fan base, but I feel like it's always the same fans that attract Forza. So I think that maybe, I don't know, if they put some crazy modes in there, maybe some some new multiplayer things, they could attract other people. But yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, talking about the looks of it, I find it kind of weird that they are targeting 60 frames on Series X. I mean, the ray tracing, I'm sure that it's something that will be very next gen given, the hardware, but to me, in a racing game, at least it would seem to me that a higher frame rate would be most beneficial for a game like this. So, kind of missing out, on FORZA at 120 frames, at least on Series X. PC is another story, but I don't know. To me, it seems kind of like a waste. Maybe drop ray tracing for this one and go 120. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that it would benefit more from higher frame rate than ray tracing. But of course, I think that they want to show off the ray tracing so people gravitate towards the new generation.
Yeah. I guess that it's easier to sell. In that sense, the screenshot, of with or without ray tracing has become kind of a meme.
Right.
So yeah, I kind of get why they go in that route. So what other game caught your attention?
To me, Phantasy Star Online. I don't know if it's a remake or what. It's a new one, right?
I think it's an expansion to the existing one.
Right.
Which is Phantasy Star Cloud, I think it's the current one.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed really, really fun to me. It seemed sort of like of course, Phantasy Star Online, but it reminded me a lot of like Xenoblade, Xenosaga, like Monster Hunter. I really like the aspect of you playing with your friends, and it seemed very dynamic, very action-packed. I don't know. It really caught my eye.
Yeah, it looks very lush. In terms of the level design, it reminded me a lot about Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is this weird, like kind of realistic but also kind of anime. Like you see the face of the characters and they are realistic, but then the eyes are huge. It reminded me a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles X visually, and yeah, it looks great. And I think that this game is either coming out to North America or it did very recently something like that. So yeah, it's nice to see a game like this at the forefront again. After so long. I mean, the Phantasy Star Online 2 came out like 15 years ago. It's been too long, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and do you think that Microsoft has something like how they are doing the xCloud and all the other online services? Do you think that they would be incorporating it to their systems, or do you think that it's just a Sega game out of the gate, so to speak?
I don't know. I think they would want to incorporate something with their systems. It seems that Microsoft this generation is gonna try to play nice with Japanese developers and try to sort of cater more to that market. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have something for that.
Yeah, me neither. I want to talk about this, so to speak, triad of games. The three things that Obsidian showed are very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I suppose that the least interesting one, kinda, is the expansion for Outer Worlds. I mean, it looks great. I think that game definitely needed more sort of content in terms of some spaces could feel small at times and whatnot. So I do like that they're doing that. I've been playing it for a very, very short time. I don't know why I'm saying that, but that's the impression that I've gotten out of the maybe 15 hours that I've put into the game. I'm not so sure. But yeah, that was interesting, and I liked the presentation. That was kind of course, kind of similar to Fallout.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to mention the RPG
Yeah.
Skyrim Elder Scrolls vibe thing that they
Mm-hmm.
announced. They didn't show much about it, but I find very interesting that they're kind of almost targeting Bethesda in terms of competing against their games, you know.
Right. Yeah, it's called About, and yeah, we really only saw like a 20-second, 30-second, a minute trailer of an arrow hitting some world, and yeah, I mean, I trust them, and I think that they can make a really good game, and yeah, I think a competitor for Bethesda would be good. Maybe I think that lately maybe they've been like sitting pretty in their place, like nobody is competing with them, and I think that this may wake them up. Like, hey, there's somebody else making games as good as yours. Maybe step it up a little. I think I'm looking forward to this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either if this game came out before Elder Scrolls, you know, Elder
Yeah, me
Scrolls 6. I
uh-huh.
wouldn't be surprised at all,
Mhm.
because that game seems to be unwilling to come out.
Right.
But yeah, I really liked what I've played of Outer Worlds, so I would definitely be interested in looking at what they could do, especially now that they have funding from Microsoft, because let's remember Outer
Right.
Worlds was a crowdfunded game.
Mhm.
This is a completely different story with Avowed.
Mhm.
And yeah, and the other game that I really liked from Obsidian was this concept that they had for these kids that are on this garden, and they are making their little like camp and protecting themselves and each other, and it seems kind of this multiplayer survival game,
Yeah.
kind of like I don't know, it gave me like Minecraft hardcore
Yeah.
vibes and whatnot.
Definitely. Like Minecraft or like original Fortnite, sort of Plants vs Zombies ish. And yeah, I mean, it seems really fun to play with your friends. I think that these sort of like wave type survival games are sort of like a thing of the past, and I think that they still could bring so much more to the table, and I'm looking forward to playing it with my friends.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, this game will have like an early access or beta thing next week or so.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, on both Xbox and on PC on Steam. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna check this thing out.
Yeah, the Tetris Effect Connected, the new sort of DLC expansion type thing, where now you can play multiplayer with your friends. I think that's great. I mean, Tetris Effect it's difficult to be a Tetris game and be as good with all the Tetris games that come out and all the different clones of Tetris. But Tetris Effect did it. It put a nice pin on Tetris, and yeah, now with them adding multiplayer and this sort of stuff, I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, I've played Tetris Effect on other platforms on PlayStation.
Right.
It's a really good game.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking the one thing this game is missing is multiplayer.
Yeah.
And they're finally putting it in. So yeah, I think that this might. Well, I don't know if it would be Tetris 99, but it's definitely up there as one of the best Tetris experiences.
Yeah. I think it's both of them. Like Tetris 99 is sort of like the competitive multiplayer-y, sort of battle royale, and the other side is like this like beautiful experience, sort of relaxing but at the same time hardcore. So yeah, I think it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I think so too, and I would be interested in knowing, just how big this new mode would be, because this is coming as a free update for all Tetris Effect owners. So it would be interesting to know how big of an impact, or how
Yeah.
big of a mode it will be, going forward. And I don't know if they brought it to Steam and Windows Store yet, but on PC it was an Epic Game Store exclusive for the longest time. I don't remember.
Okay.
But yeah, it would be cool if it came to the Windows Store, just because of the cross-buy thing, and
Right.
Game Pass. So yeah, um, I wouldn't mind if they brought it to the Windows Store. To really have a spotlight, so to speak, was Psychonauts 2.
Right.
It had a pretty funny and weird trailer. I don't know, what do you think about the song and the vibe that they were giving?
Right. It was pretty wacky and fun. At first, I was kind of mad because I saw Jack Black and I saw that I think he had a Brutal Legend shirt, and I was like, oh my god, Brutal Legend 2. But no, it was Psychonauts, and yeah, I don't know. It seems really fun and wacky, and the 60s sort of theme seems to fit it really good. The song was good. I don't know. What do you think?
I really like the vibe that they were going for. What I am honestly kind of concerned, I don't know how to, I found weird, is that the brain of this person that we're exploring in the trailer, I think that person is dead. No, like their brain was on this container, and I don't know. To me, it was kind of dark. Well, Psychonauts, it's a pretty. It has like these dark undertones, but I thought that was kind of brutal for a trailer. I don't know.
I mean, it's either that or he's on drugs, which I think he maybe is.
There was definitely a psychedelic tone to it, and
Right.
very 60s, kind of summer of love thing going on as well.
Yeah.
And but overall, I really liked it. And I hope that if Jack Black has a big or small part, like if it's small, I hope that it's like the most memorable level in the game, like this huge thing. But I do hope that he has a big part on it. I don't know how they would do it or whatever, but yeah, I mean, the first Psychonauts is this. It's a pretty interesting game, and I hope that the second one captures that vibe as well. What other game caught your attention?
To me, it was this sort of like horror type game, Medium, because they were talking about this dual reality thing where they were talking about rendering two worlds at the same time, and they kind of didn't explain it much, but I don't know, it seemed sort of interesting. It seemed sort of like Silent Hill-y. We thought actually it was a Silent Hill, but no. But yeah, I'm really intrigued in what are they talking about with this dual reality and what it means for gameplay, because we've seen lots of games that dealt with like alternate worlds or alternate realities of the same world you're in, but I don't know, I think they must have something different here for them to be talking about so much.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about Halo, and there you can, on the press of a button, change from the new graphics to the classic ones, and a lot of games do things kind of on that note. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to wonder what they would be cooking up. And yes, we were talking about the game live, so to speak. We were chatting about it, and yeah, I totally thought, what is this the new Silent Hill? But no. But it still looks really fun. Fun might not be the word, right? Looks pretty cool. Looks interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
And I will be checking it out. They mentioned that all of these games are going to be on Game Pass, so I've got nothing to lose but my time.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a very interesting game actually. And another game that it's kind of spooky and dark, but I'm kind of mad that we saw nothing new about it is Hellblade 2.
Yeah.
I really wish that we saw more of that game, because we've only had that trailer that they showed at the Game Awards, and they showed it again here. Some bits from it.
That was weird.
But nothing new, and I found it weird because I'm pretty sure that this game is scheduled to be a launch game. So, if it's not, I guess that makes more sense. But I don't know. It would seem to me that this game would be ready to at least show something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I was expecting some gameplay actually. I was expecting to see more. I haven't played the first one, but it seems really interesting. And from seeing the trailer of the new one, from the last presentation, it looked incredible. I think the graphics look great, and yeah, I was looking forward to seeing what it was all about.
Yeah, but I guess it will have to make do with the Iceland shots that we saw.
Oh, those were beautiful, man. I mean, if they're basing it on a country, I think Iceland is one of the greatest ones to do it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to exploring Iceland, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Although, if the first game is an indication, I don't think that it will be as beautiful and peaceful as those shots looked.
Right.
This is a very dark game.
Yeah.
There was this game that they showed from the creators of the SteamWorld games, from Image and Form.
Yes.
And I don't know, what do you think about it?
You're talking about the gunk, right? This
Yes,
sort of...
the gunk.
It seemed interesting. Like I kind of didn't get the whole idea. Is something like sort of, I guess, like reverse Splatoon, like where you're cleaning all this thing up. I don't know. It also kind of reminded me of kind of Death Stranding, because of this black like gunk, I guess. And so yeah, I think the gameplay that we saw it looked interesting. It was sort of like this, I guess, like platformy, shooty style game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I want to see more of it, but I wasn't so clear on what was the game.
Yeah, that was something that I also kind of left with this game. I was not sure what it was about. Like, well, thematically, yes, there's this thing that's called a gunk, and like you said, you have to reverse Splatoon on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, like, what am I doing here, besides cleaning? Is this Mario Sunshine, kind of thing, or
right.
Or what are we looking at here? I don't know. I guess it will have to wait and see.
Something that wasn't in the show but was in the pre-show that really caught my eye was the new game from Square Enix and Sonic creator Yuji Naka. Balan Wonderworld, I think it's called. I don't know if you saw it.
I read about it, but I didn't see the pre-show, so...
Yeah, they released a trailer, and it sort of reminded me of like the gameplay of Spyro, but with the style of Nights. Nights
into
the Sega
Dreams?
game, Nights into Dreams. Thank you, and also kind of Dragon Questy. I don't know. It seemed really fun. Like some good platforming, some good fighting in there. So yeah, I was really surprised with how much I like this game, and them not putting it in the actual show and relegated it to the pre-show.
I find weird that these games that seem to be more, I want to say almost Japanese in terms of...
Right.
Because Dragon Quest XI also got the boot,
Yeah.
It got demoted to the pre-show as well. So maybe it was a concern of the target audience for the particular show. It would be interesting to see maybe if on the Japanese show or in other areas, because if you're subscribed to the Xbox YouTube channel, you will see all these live streams of all the languages and sign language and all these things. Maybe in one of those were on the presentation. I don't actually know, and I'm not gonna check them all.
Right.
But yeah, I did find that the games that they omitted were kinda similar to it, you know. And I hadn't really considered the Spyro angle that you were mentioning. For me, it seemed a little bit of an everything game. You know, it reminded me a little bit of Sonic Adventure with the different characters.
Right.
But I think that you're more right in your comparison with, especially with Spyro 3, that you would play as Hunter and as other characters.
Yeah.
I think that that's more like it. And yeah, the Nights into Dreams comparison seems apt. I mean, especially with the bad guy that they showed. Yeah, it definitely looked like a Nights into Dreams game. It's been a while since we've seen work from Yuji Naka, and he's been working on this game for very long, for like, I want to say almost 5 years or something.
Wow.
And because I remember like so long ago that they announced that he was working with Square in a game, but yeah, I mean, I guess that this is it, and we're finally getting a taste of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was a good one. And also Dragon Quest XI, I think, deserves a bit of a mention. They mentioned two key aspects that I find interesting. It's technically a port of the Switch game, which I find very interesting.
Wow, yeah.
Because this game was already on these platforms, and so the way they put it, and I don't remember what I read it exactly, but the way that they put it is that it's not going to be an upgrade for existing consumers because it's a port of the Switch game, and they had to rework the Switch game back into the previous platforms. So it's a bit of a mess, but at the same time, far and away the Switch version was better. I mean, it wasn't inferior hardware, but you know, I played a lot of it, and the music was such a huge part of it, of the of what kept me going, so to speak, through the game.
Yeah.
And so thinking of playing with the quite frankly crappy synthesized version of the songs, you know, seemed like a big no from me. So getting this the definitive edition of Dragon Quest XI on 4K and all that high-end goodness seems like a good fit to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's weird, right? Because also I think Nintendo paid for the distribution or development of this game. I don't remember, but I think Nintendo was involved in something with this, so that also seems strange.
They definitely published it in North America because in the box on the label on the side it says Nintendo rather than Square Enix.
Right.
So yeah, they definitely participated in some way. And before this release, the 2D mode was exclusive to Nintendo platforms because it was on the 3DS and on the Switch, and it was nowhere else. And now it will be, you know, on all the other platforms. And yeah, I mean, it's great. It's a great game. I had a lot of fun with it. It's very much like watching almost like a cartoon because every town has like its own plot. Like very quickly you learn that in this game the main plot doesn't matter. Like you're playing through these. It's almost like these really fun side quests that are going throughout the game. I don't know. It's a funny game as well. So yeah. Definitely, if you didn't play it before, definitely play it now, you know, on the Xbox with 4K and all that goodness. But yeah, those are some pretty good games that were outside of the presentation. I don't know, would you like to talk about some of the other games that were shown?
I think honestly, most of the games we're missing are not that interesting. I mean, some of them were like generic shooters. Some like novel games, visual novel games. I think the most interesting that we haven't talked about is probably Fable, but we didn't see really much about it. We saw like little teaser, I guess, from the game. I honestly haven't played Fable, but people who have really loved it. So yeah.
Yeah, all we got from Fable was that quite honestly brutal trailer where you're following this little fairy around and then she gets eaten.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found that more unsettling than I I thought I would. Like what? I mean, I guess that a giveaway are the skeletons that she passes through before, but still, it was so weird. And at the same time, being such a cinematic trailer makes me think that this game we'll be seeing in like 2 years or something.
Yeah.
That's the thing with those very short cinematic trailers. The same goes for some other games here. State of Decay 3 was one, which I'm not gonna say that I'm like a huge State of Decay guy, but it seemed interesting to me that at least tonally seemed completely different from the previous games.
Yeah.
I don't know, what else do you think we could cover?
The rare game Everwild, it looks interesting. I really don't know still what it's about. They talk about a lot of exploration and adventure and caring for the nature, which sounds interesting, but I still don't know what it's really about.
Yeah, that's something so weird because this is the second time we've seen this game?
Yes, I think it is.
So, when we still don't know what this game will play like. You have this party of characters which could hint at multiplayer, I don't know. Rare has been pretty big on multiplayer since always.
Yeah.
And, with Sea of Thieves, that game is all about online multiplayer, so maybe we'll be seeing something like that. But visually and tonally, it gives me some Breath of the Wild vibes. I don't know. Maybe I'm stretching here. I don't know, but it gives me a little bit of that. I think that this game will be like this open world thing, and you'll explore it with your buddies, and you'll tame creatures and what. I don't know. I'm making things up as I go, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that's where we wrap things up. Overall, I like this presentation. I think that the PlayStation what made me sort of calm my expectations. I think that if PlayStation had hit it out of the park, I would have had my expectations very high for this because the stakes would be higher. But I don't know. I guess that these two presentations have been kind of okay. Kind of a first taste. I don't know if we'll be getting a second one before launch. I guess that we'll have to wait and see. I don't know, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think the same about this. I thought that I think I had higher expectations than you. I never really thought about getting a Series X, especially with xCloud. But I don't know, I was kind of going in with the thought of being convinced of getting maybe a Series X because PlayStation 5 is not really convincing me. And I didn't go out that way. I'm sort of the same right now. So yeah, it's weird that neither Sony or Microsoft is really hitting it out of the park with these presentations. I guess we'll wait and see, and we still don't know the prices of any of these consoles, so yeah, we shall see.
Yeah, I guess we will. Well, I guess that's how we wrap things up for now. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. This is Paco Trevino, and I was joined by Laura Chapa.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Until next time, bye guys.